YouTube has made a surprising update to their analytics in the back end of YouTube Studio Beta that reveals to us some shocking truths about YouTube Shorts. Are they effective? Are they actually hurting our channels? What results are they actually getting? How do they compare to our other videos? How do you actually convert your YouTube Shorts viewers to your long form videos? I've got 4 tips for you on today's episode of Coffee with Cannell, brought to you by StreamYard. More on them later. If you've never been a part of the Coffee with Cannell show, it's a show where we bring on guests and we have different people. We do coaching live, and that's going to be happening a little bit later after our opening content. So stick around for about the next 8 minutes. You can check out time codes for the second part as we get back into the first Coffee with Cannell in like a year. Let's rock. All right, let's dive right into some of these new analytics that we can see in the back end of our YouTube studio related to YouTube Shorts and the impact of YouTube Shorts on our channels. Now, of course, this is just my personal channel, Think Media. And so what we're going to do is we're going to head over to content, and we are going to look at number 1 today, and that is viewers across platforms. This, my friends, is a very interesting analytic that's pretty new. Let me know if you could see this inside of your YouTube analytics. And here's what this is revealing to us. On the right side of the screen, we can see viewers from across platforms. Now watch. Viewers from across platforms in the last 28 days. Who on Think Media, this channel that you're watching this very live stream or this replay on, is watching only shorts? For us, 48% of the views in the last 28 days only watched shorts. So I know people say, how do you get your shorts viewers to watch your long form videos? This reveals that a lot of them just won't or aren't, or clearly we don't know how to. But what we can see here is that like 1 out of 2 people are only watching shorts and nothing else. Now, shockingly, 7% of people on this very channel, and I'm talking to you probably, watch both. Have you seen a short on Think Media? Have you seen a long on Think Media? I guess the technical term is shorts videos. So do you watch full-length videos? Do you watch just shorts? Both, let me know. So interestingly enough, in this viewers across platform, number 1 of 4 analytics that we need to study today, 7% are watching both. And then 45% are only watching videos and don't even care about the shorts. That's interesting. Yes. And so I think that this first one's very an analytic that maybe reveals the segmentation of viewership. Shorts consumers maybe only kind of want to be shorts consumers, but that is a chance to reach people. Maybe in our case, very few people are watching both, and some people only watch long form videos. Now, my takeaway though is it's still a win, at least on number 1 of our 4 analytics. Now, notice this. You can then segment this if you've done some live streams to say, okay, who's watched shorts only and also your live streams? Only 4% watch live streams only. Only 1% watches both shorts and live streams, but 95% only watch shorts. It's comparing to live streams on this channel. And then it compares videos versus live streams, which also, interestingly enough, 95% of people like videos on Think Media and watch them. Only 4% watch both. For the 259 people that are here, thanks for being here. And only 1%, watch live only. So have you seen this analytic? That's number 1, is viewers across formats. And have you seen that analytic yet? Robert Rodriguez says old shorts are picking up. And have you, can you dive into your YouTube Studio Beta and let me know what you're seeing? Do you have that viewers across formats module there revealing that information to you? Scuba says, I rarely watch shorts. I don't care for them in general, not just the fake video ones. And I think that reveals, you just summarized the psychology that's, I think, true in general. People that watch shorts, 48% of them watch shorts. People that watch videos. People that watch both is less than 10%. Fascinating. Okay. Now, secondly, next analytic that we are seeing is how many choose, with 2 O's, to view. And that's going to be, nope, 1 O. And that's going to be right here. So if you go to analytics on the left side of your YouTube Studio Beta, overview, you go to content. Did you know that inside of content, you can look at your channel across all formats, just videos, just lives, just posts on your community tab, or just shorts? So if you click shorts and you go down, this window, what do you call these? A module, a pop out, whatever it is, how many choose to view? 73. This is an average in the last 28 days across all of our shorts. So 73.8% viewed, 26.2% swiped away. The key here is it's not really a CTR. It's not a click-through rate. Click-through rate is a normal video because someone makes the decision on search or their browse features are suggested to click or tap. I suppose sometimes suggested as an autoplay. But how many chose to view? The shorts experience is I'm swiping, I dwell for a second, and then I dwell longer. So I chose to view it instead of like, next one. Now they can't give us an exact time. And if you missed the episode with Renee Ritchie, a YouTube employee, he shared some interesting insights. Definitely check that out. We'll link up that and other show notes in the YouTube description. But how many chose to view is an indication of a kind of like your click-through rate of how good your short is at getting people to stop the scroll. So how many people chose to view this Mr. Beast's advice for new YouTube creators? 77%. How many times was it shown in the shorts feed in the last 28 days? And then on maybe the lower performing shorts, how many choose to view this one? Was 29.8%. So people are swiping away at a much higher level. The takeaway being that's a little bit different than CTR, than click-through rate, is your ability to hook people in the first second, in the first frame, your ability to create topics that people find engaging enough to want to stick around. We're talking about 4 YouTube analytics that reveal to us what the truth about YouTube Shorts and how it affects our channels. And the next one is how viewers find your shorts. So this one is maybe not a surprise, but when you're on analytics, overview, content, you select shorts, how viewers find your shorts, what we could see here is 85.4% is the shorts feed. While shorts can be found in search, almost 10% of our shorts are. While shorts can be found on the homepage, 2.7% are. While they can be found from other types of locations, they certainly can be. You could see external. They could even be found on Google. However, the portion of traffic is only 0.3%. Google search is a tool or is a place that people discover Think Media Shorts. But when you actually think strategy-wise, 0.3% is so insignificant that really doesn't really move the needle. 8.7 is cool. Search is good. That does kind of move the needle. Suggested videos, also very small. Playlists, incredibly small. So overall, what is the bottom line? Is the shorts feed, traffic from shorts vertical viewing experience, is like the by and large overarching, maybe this is obvious, but we all need to be on the same page. The way that you go viral with shorts, get views with shorts, really break out with shorts is the shorts feed. It means you got to get your short showing up in the feed to your subscribers, but the dream is to people who don't know you yet. Get them to stop the scroll. They don't swipe away, they stop. You hold their attention, and then their consumption of your short could lead to a lot of good things. Perhaps YouTube shows them more shorts of yours. Perhaps they click subscribe. Perhaps they check out the comments and they see what you did in a pinned comment. But that would be the third analytic that we can discover in our YouTube studio, revealing the truth about how shorts are impacting our channel. Before we get to number 4, I think what is also interesting to me is there's a lot of debate out there. There's a lot of vitriol out there. There's even the idea, people are saying shorts killed my channel, shorts killed my views, shorts. And maybe that's true. I mean, let me know your experience, but you always want to back up your emotional, intuitive feelings about what's happening on YouTube with data. For example, if you get a comment on one of your videos that's like, "You're so dumb. Why do you have the face of a boy but the hair of an old man?" Real comment that I got. If you get a comment that's like, "That video was such a waste of time. You're such a dumb pants." I'll be like, "Bro, I'm wearing shorts. Like, what? I'm not even wearing pants." So you should listen to your comments, because maybe critical feedback, constructive criticism could be good. But one of the ways to check the math of a video of yours that someone's maybe quote unquote hating on is simply by doing the math. Well, how do you do that? If I look at some of our most recent videos, I did an Amazon Prime Day tips video. There was a couple people that were like, "Yeah, this is just dumb. You're dumb." So I'm like, okay, maybe true. Let me look at the math. Well, the math on this video is 97.7% of people gave it a thumbs up. 517 people clicked like on the video. So I want to pay attention to maybe some criticism. I don't think you just throw out all criticism, because maybe it's like, yeah, I could do better. Maybe I didn't come across as genuine there. Maybe like I really genuinely, I want to learn from the comments. But compare the negative comment to the math, right? And so the math would be, I know for me, I didn't do that good in high school. If I got a 97.7 on my report card, my parents would have been happier, like that. That's it's like an A+. So there could, like, one negative comment, 2 negative comments compared to the viewer satisfaction evidenced by the like button, I think is something to consider. So what does that have to do with YouTube Shorts? Well, as we dive into our YouTube Shorts, I think it's important to look at Shorts as a whole: analytics, overview, content, Shorts, and then study last 28 days, last 90 days. And so this is all I can tell you, is that I look at Shorts on Think Media and I say, okay, in the last 90 days, we got 17 million views. It was shown in the feed 24 million times. We got almost 1 million likes, and we got 16,900 new subscribers. So I might feel like, they're not doing very good. Then I could say, how did videos do? And I'm like, 12 million views and 7.2% click-through rate and average view duration 245 on just the videos. And so I can now study these different deals, and on a net, I then can compare the 16,000 subscribers and say to myself, okay, well, that might be inflating our channel a little bit, because if we go back to, if we come down here to all and we go to viewers across formats, those new subscribers also may only continue to watch Shorts in the future. Returning viewers in the last 28 days. So they have, at least, they might not be subscribed, but they're returning. And what are they returning for? More Shorts from Think Media. I'm okay with that. Hey, you want to party and meet up in less than 60 seconds? We can do it in less than 60 seconds. You want to hang for a couple minutes? Let's meet up. Like, I'll see you here on Think Media. Let's hang for 8 minutes. You want to hang out with Nolan or Omar for 13 minutes in a video? Let's schedule it. Let's do it. Hit subscribe. You want to hang out on a 90-minute Coffee with Cannell show where we're going to bring on some guests in a second, and let's do it. Not many people want to hang out on lives, apparently, videos and lives. 1% of Think Media care about lives compared to 95% that care about videos. But I think that we're living in a world where, do the math, look at the numbers across the board. And to me, there's different levels of impact. Some people, not every relationship is going to be at the deepest level of intimacy. Some people is an acquaintance. Some people are kind of friends. Somebody's your closest friend. So anyways, I think your opportunity is to ultimately do the math. And we'll get to number 4 here in just a second. But shout out to today's sponsor, StreamYard. Check this out.
This video is sponsored by StreamYard. This is our go-to platform for live streaming to YouTube and Facebook, especially when we have multiple people joining us on a stream. With an incredibly easy to use interface for doing cool transitions, bringing in text on the screen, and seamlessly bringing on guests. This is the perfect platform for the new and experienced creators alike.
If you want to check out StreamYard, you can check out StreamYard at streamwiththink.com. Right now, you actually, no credit card required, can get a 14-day trial of StreamYard. That is the very software I'm using to go live with you right now. Super powerful. You can also multi-stream. So oftentimes we multi-stream across platforms. I'll throw it over to my Facebook page. If you're crazy, you could go to Kick, Twitch. Where do you want to go? Everywhere. Plus here, YouTube Live. We record our podcasts using StreamYard. So streamwiththink.com. You can check out that link in the description, streamwiththink.com from StreamYard. Number 4, we're talking about, here's the recap of tips. If you go into your YouTube analytics and you want to follow along or rewind this video or rewatch this video, viewers across formats, very interesting. This is brand new. Like this has come out in the last couple weeks or less. And it could be very interesting about how many people only watch shorts, only watch your videos, watch both. How many choose to view is basically shorts version of click-through rate, which is very interesting to study and try to improve on a channel-wide level, but also on an individual shorts level. How viewers find your shorts, maybe it's obvious it's the shorts feed, but to double down on that, and it reveals that the other traffic sources for shorts are inconsequential compared to how significant the shorts feed itself is. But number 4 is how viewers find you. And so ultimately this one, how viewers find your shorts is the same. Is that my same point? My notes were great. There may be somewhere else. So how do viewers find your shorts feed? That's what you get on a live stream on a coffee with Candle that I haven't done in a year. Maybe it made more sense than that, but I rushed my points and published shorts, how viewers find you. Aha, I found it. Lest you thought that I was about to crash and burn. Okay. On a live stream, how viewers find you. Here it is. So if you're under analytics, content, all, and you scroll past viewers across formats, how viewers find you is a fascinating window, square, module. Over on the right side, you can see how viewers find you in the last 90 days. How do viewers find you? I go back to this idea. Like at the end of the day, what matters most? I think that's up to you to decide. Is it video viewership? Is it because on your videos you can monetize better because your videos have a high RPM, CPM? Are you a business owner? You want to get leads, client sales, you're trying to capture leads. Is it like, how is it that you're trying to, do things? Ultimately, how do viewers find you? And are you willing to be found in any way? So I think the opportunity here is to say, like, if you have not stepped into the shorts game, 50% of people are finding us. Sean, I want to get discovered. I have 0 subscribers. I'm just starting. How do I stand out in a crowded YouTube world? How do I get found? How do I get known? Well, I'm glad you asked. And what's interesting is if you're not experimenting with different content formats, the shorts feed is 50% of how many people in 90 days of 30,800,000 people found me, us, Nolan, Omar, the Think fam. That's a lot. So, I mean, shorts are definitely some exposure. Now I hear your debate. You're like, yeah, but like, what's the level of that relationship? Fair enough. But like at the end of the day, when you also think about numbers that big, that means if it's 30 million views we got, 15 million of those were shorts. And even if 4% of those like really stuck to be fans or go deeper, those are some big numbers. I'm not good at math. That's why, because my report card wasn't good, but my like ratio was better on the videos. Let's just do 4% of 15 million views. If I get 15 million shorts views, this is definitely why you showed up live today. As we get ready for our special guests on Coffee with Cano, I'm going to be doing some live coaching with what people are going through. And the link is going to be dropped a couple places. And so we'll let you know how you can jump on if you've got a good microphone, internet connection. Even your phone's fine, but we want to be able to see you, hear you, and I would love to answer your questions live here on YouTube. 15 million. Where did it go? Why can't you see my calculator? You can't. What is this? Calculator doesn't show up on StreamYard. I literally have it there. It's invisible for you, but I could see it. Anyways, 15 million times 4.04 is 600,000 people. So if you could get some big, views from shorts and only a small percentage stick with you, I think that to me is the math that I'm seeing. I don't want to be impressed by like these really wide top line metrics. Like I got 100 million views. Like, so what though? But if 1% of 100 million people like stick with you and start to go deeper with you, that's super significant. And to me, that feels like what the numbers of shorts is. So number 4 is how viewers find you. For Think Media, 50% of people are finding us because of shorts. 30% of people are finding us in the last 90 days because of YouTube search. 5.7% browse features, some external, some suggested, and it's going to be different for other people. We do a lot of education. Search-based is clearly strong for us, but shorts is a massive traffic source. And that, my friends, is, I think, all some interesting data and insight to consider when it comes to building up your channel and tapping into data, making data-driven decisions based on viewers from across formats, how many choose to view, how viewers find your shorts, and how viewers find you. You can see those all inside of your YouTube analytics. Watch the replay. Hit like if you found this valuable. I just got a super chat. I'm going to answer that question. If you have a question, put 4 question marks before and after your question. And in a second, we're going to have some people jumping on. And Victoria, I probably future-wise we'll want to get the link out sooner. And then also because of the distribution, if it's only in a Facebook group, it takes a long time for that to be distributed. So we could maybe drop it here in the YouTube chat. But in the meantime, I'm excited because we have a Q and I've got an A for your Q. My wife has a baking channel on YouTube, Cake Mom. Amazing. We stopped posting about a year ago. My question is, would it be a good idea to go back and repurpose those almost 200 videos into shorts? I mean, it beats a kick in the cake, it beats a poke in the eye. I think that ultimately I would do it. And a couple opportunities you have. If you still have that footage, I would post that footage. I would go into your timelines of your edits and perhaps do some voiceovers and actually make shorts out of the content. That's going to perform best because you already maybe have the B-roll. You could quickly say like, here's a quick recipe, and you show the whole thing. It takes more effort, but you'd be putting out premium content that I think could not just do well on YouTube Shorts, but on TikTok and across the board. That's the highest level of repurposing. You can use the remix feature. It kind of is a bummer because it like sort of crops in and the quality is not very good, but some people have good results with it, at least view wise. And then if you don't actually have the original files, you also could you could download your own YouTube videos and still perhaps in the highest quality possible and still give a higher quality edit to it. Those I think are the 3 levels. And I do think there's an opportunity to do that because cooking in particular and cakes does incredibly well on shorts, and food in general. And then I guess that's what I do. I do one of those 3 options. All right. Now, before we jump into some coaching I would invite you to our Tube 1K challenge. Did you know we are doing a free 5-day challenge? You could get your first or next 1,000 subscribers. It's live. It's 5 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's happening in July. And if you haven't registered, you could go to tube1kchallenge.com. What's cool about it is we're going to be doing a bunch of giveaways. And this is what the page looks like. It's all about multiple different ways of earning passive income on YouTube. Some of the latest tips and strategies we've been learning, how to get your first or next 1,000 subscribers. We meet up in a private group on Circle. Have y'all heard of Circle before? It's pretty cool. And so anyways, check this page out, tube1kchallenge.com. Link with the description is down in the description. And you could register there. You also could ultimately type in tube1kchallenge.com and you could register there as well. All right. I've got a bunch of questions queued up. I've got some starred questions, but I do want to give you some context for this show today. If you're just joining on the replay, watch the replay. We have time codes chapters for the opening 4 things related to YouTube Shorts, but on Coffee with Cannell, branded logo appearing in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. This show is where we bring on guests. If you've got a webcam, a smartphone, just click the link that's in live chat or in one of the groups that we've posted it in. It allows you to come into StreamYard and then you can jump on. And I'd love to answer your questions and go back and forth with you, open your channel up if you've got a channel, and help you with anything that you're going through. And so definitely click the link. It's helpful if you've got good audio, video, hardlined, or anything like that. But jump on, and I would love to help if you want some coaching here live on Coffee with Cannell. Addie says, help me. I do reaction videos, but I feel like it's not worth it. Do you have any feedback? So without like knowing about what do you react to? Why is it valuable? Is there a theme to it? Or are you just reacting randomly? I think, Addie, for you and everyone else, I would always start with kind of what's the strategy? What's the plan for the channel? You know, real estate channels sometimes react to the Fed and they react to interest rates and different things like that. My friend Ruslan reacts to a lot of like news in the faith-based community. He reacts to like sermon clips or reacts to stuff that's happening, or he reacts to other YouTube videos, but he's got a theme to his channel. So my question is like, what would your theme be? Reaction videos, I know there is the famous React channels, but in and of themselves, I don't feel like they're a very strong brand. Reaction videos are more like a format. Peter McKinnon did filmmaker reacts to like Hollywood cinematography or whatever, reacts. So Peter McKinnon's made a promise, filmmaking tips, like camera tips. And so his react videos are related to the brand of his channel. Again, I think you could have like, all I do is react. People react to crazy gaming moments. People react to my friend Emily Baker from the Law Nerds, the community she started, is a former DA, district attorney, and reacts to celebrities. She'll go word for word through the lawsuit and break it down, or she'll react to the court film of trials and juries and the whole thing, and Johnny Depp and Amber Heard actually on the stand minute for minute reacting to it. But the brand there is she's a lawyer reacting to something in particular. So I think your opportunity is a strategy opportunity. And so ultimately, I hope that helps. Smash like if you're getting value. Questions, 4 question marks before and after. And let's start with Lay with the Lens. Should I overly brand shorts like I would a YouTube video? I don't think that's needed. I don't know what you mean fully. I think that if that just means music, polished editing, having some level of branding come up, I think shorts opportunity is smartphone only. You know, you could film on your phone, use the YouTube editor, minimal editing, throw some captions on there. You even could have some significant editing, meaning like you're thoughtfully doing scenes. Like a good short might have like this clip, that clip, and this clip, and that clip, and you stitch them together, but they still could be very raw, just the smartphone microphone. And so my summation answer to your question is I don't think you need to overly brand them. I think it's about the content value, really not the production value. Next question is, how do you feel about reposting shorts for a better reach? A couple strategies here that some of my friends have done. I think that reposting shorts is an interesting strategy. One person I know who's gotten like billions of views with shorts will try 4 different hooks on the same short. So they think about like the main content is a certain way, but they'll do one hook, post it and watch it, and like it doesn't pop. So they post it again, even in like an hour, and they change the hook. They change the opening line. They change how the video opens, and they'll do up to 4. I'm not sure if they go back and delete the other ones. There's also been some interesting experiments in our Video Ranking Academy where people have seen, they've posted a short at a certain time of day. It got like 16 views. They wait, nothing happens. They delete it. They post it in the afternoon and it gets 6,000 views. So that's fascinating. I think in both cases, you need to take a step back and ask yourself, what am I even trying to accomplish? Is shorts my main strategy? That first creator I mentioned, shorts is basically his main strategy. And he sort of is focused all day, every day on shorts. I think that ultimately, and that again, what's the bigger picture, the bigger vision? But I think you can experiment with retrying, re-editing, or reworking, and then posting it again. What is the shelf life of shorts in general? Meaning, do viewers go through and watch older shorts? Wow, getting back into our main content. If you're just joining, we shared 4 tips at the beginning. This question is a very good question because it goes back to analytics to study when it comes to the success of shorts. Do viewers go through and watch your older shorts? I doubt that. So I doubt that viewers go to your shorts page. Let's do a little survey here for the 340 people here, though. Do you do that? Do you go to someone's page and just scroll through and say like, is there any good shorts here? I think your best of the best will probably be watched. But if you come over here, I don't think people, I'm guessing, and we can do a live survey here for what it's worth. Go, all right, let me just look through these and see which one I want to watch. Now, I do think people might click popular, and a lot of times your best of the best, I think, will continue to be viewed, perhaps this way. But the first way you worded the question, what's the shelf life of shorts in general? Do viewers go through and watch older shorts? I don't think they go search out your older shorts personally. I'm wrong, actually. So, well, okay, here's a survey. Brick says I do. Charles says I do. Pa says I do. Jor says no. Cigar Lover says, thinking about it. And so I do on certain channels. So that's better than my opinion, because that's great. Thanks for the super chat. It just disappeared. I have it started though. I'll come back, Berg Zone, and I'll come back, and then I'll hit Demon's Row. But I got a big point to make. So some people do, some people don't go through your shorts to look for which ones they may want to watch. What we can discover as the 5th bonus analytic in the middle, after a little bit of Q&A, is that if you go to analytics and you go to content and you go to shorts and you go to top shorts, what you can discover is that this was posted February 18th and it is July 13th. This was last year, October. This was February, meaning this is 7 months old. This is 4 months old. This one is May, June, July, 2 months old. Some of these are new. That's June. That's February, June. This one, August. So that's a half a year old, maybe, or longer. And I guess my point, this one is 2021 April. And this is also kind of a fascinating short that Omar did that also it gets a ton of search traffic. So this one, 634,000 views, YouTube search. And it does prove while short shelf is going to be by far your biggest way to get traffic, YouTube search is relevant. And so ultimately, I think that as we land the plane on this question, what is the shelf life of shorts in general? I think that probably a lot of them will like do a little bit and just die off. But over time, as I just proved, you can see that one from 2021, some from 2022, some from 4 months ago will continue to be your top shorts. And so the shelf life can be incredibly long, not just because of like something like search, but also just because it just keeps crushing on the shorts shelf. And as we discovered in our very imperfect survey here with those that are here live, many people here actually do go to your library and perhaps look through or click popular. So to me, that would be bottom line, build up a quality library of content, period. Build up a quality library of video podcasts, build up a quality library of live streams, build up a quality library of videos, build up a quality library of shorts, and when possible, create evergreen content that's valuable not just today, but tomorrow. And as new people discover you, they can get a lot of benefit out of your catalog, no matter what the format is. Smash like if you're here with me on Coffee with Cannell today. And we've got Gabriel Noah that's coming on Coffee with Cannell. Gabriel, I hope I can hear you. It's a little bit dark, but I can kind of see you. I'm pulling up your channel. What's your question today?
Well, I was trying to figure that out myself, like what was the thing I'm gonna ask. Well, like my channel was about like facing your fears, and it's about bravery, and it's a part that like I had when I was younger, but basically I had some traumas, and my life turned out to be worse than I thought at a point, because of I didn't have courage, bravery were like off. So I'm in the phase where I'm learning, so I'm trying to understand how I can be valuable in something that I don't know much more than what I'm like experimenting and learning right now. Like,
what are you up to in life? What's like your background? Are you in school, working?
Well, I dropped off university, so that's it, and I've been into many sports.
You've been doing sports your whole life. In the picture, you've got like gloves on and exercise rings and stuff. What kind of sports do you do?
Well, right now I'm doing like CrossFit calisthenics. So that's what I'm doing. But I've been into, I'm basically I've been into like 15 different sports. Like I've been thinking like, what's the reason for that? And like the only answer I get is like I'm trying to find myself, and it's a pretty hard thing to do.
Which sport do you like the most and are you best at, and do you have the most years of experience in?
Well, it should be football, soccer. Yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate you coming on Coffee with Cannell. I think that if I look at your channel, and number one, I want to say I totally understand the journey of like self-discovery, trying to find yourself, and then if you're on that road personally, that's also kind of an extension to your YouTube channel, which sort of evidences the same thing. It's kind of looks like just kind of a mix of content. Personal development is kind of a a concrete topic, but it's also kind of vague because it's sort of like, it's good, but could we be more specific than that? And then the videos we see are definitely kind of, all over the place, which is fine. We always encourage people to punch fear in the face, you can't steer a parked car, you get used to creating content, which you've done here. And you're so far ahead of many that are just afraid to press record and haven't even started. So I think a lot of people could follow your example, Gabriel, and just get started. I do think that the opportunity that I would encourage people to do, though, is we share the 3 Ps. And that is making a strong YouTube channel, I believe, is about, number one, what are you passionate about? You love sports, 15 different ones, clearly. But then number 2, what are you most proficient at? And then number 3, what could be profitable? So I think if you go number 1, passion, well, if you like soccer and you have experience in soccer, it's so much more concrete, in my opinion, to perhaps start a channel or to focus your channel on, like, let's say, soccer tips, growing in soccer. Now, sometimes the limitation is, well, but I want to experiment more. I don't want to be like pigeonholed. But it's like, what do you want to happen here? Do you want this thing to be successful? Do you want this thing to grow? And if someone saw that this channel was like Gabriel Noah, soccer tips for beginners, that then goes into proficiency. Well, if you could teach beginners what or tips of how you trained or how you got better, and then if you could potentially, then you say, is it profitable? I think about one of our students, Simply Soccer. I want to say that you look at a channel like this, 453,000 subscribers. They have like a membership program. Some of their biggest views, 2.8 million views. How to shoot a soccer ball with power and accuracy from far. Now, again, I think that sometimes if we're self-critical or whatever, this is kind of cool, tapping into influence surfing by like a known player, maybe using OPC, fair use content. There's a lot of stuff here. Well, this is a brand. This is also an incredibly profitable YouTube channel. And so for what it's worth, it doesn't have to be soccer, but in a short time, you answering clearly sports, you look like you're ripped, like from your avatar. You're in shape. You've got some experience there. There's something about just doubling down. And I want to say Simply Soccer is probably making multiple 6, maybe 7, like maybe it's $1 million business. But the long tail, you might go, well, there's so many soccer channels, just too many people doing it. It's just not true. Like if you put out valuable content, study what we teach, and try to answer specific questions or review specific products or trend surfing or influence surfing, I think the big key is that it's clear. Therefore, it can cut through the noise. Therefore, it could tie to potentially going full time and leading you to your dreams. But it also does take some discipline. As we land the plane, Gabriel, what are your thoughts on that? Would there be any hesitation to going all in on soccer? Yes or no?
Well, honestly, it would be a lot of hesitation. Because, yeah. Why? Well, like, the real reason why I started playing soccer was because it was a point of my life where I had to, in the way, here in Sweden, most children play in the way soccer or floorball. And then after a time when school begins and it becomes more studying, they have to choose. So I was very insecure, and there was one guy that was looking into my eyes while the trainer asked me which one would you like to choose, and I wanted to choose floorball, like from a whole heart. And still to this day I regret it, but I chose football because I was afraid of that guy and didn't want to be judged. So I played soccer for I think like 12 years, something like that. Yeah, and it's a dumb thing, but yeah, that's the truth of it.
So I know I appreciate your answer, and if it sounds like, based on that question, then that wouldn't be the right. It fails on the passion test, and the reasoning for having 12 years of experience there, which means you would want to keep looking. But my advice to you moving forward, and I really appreciate you coming on, is to try to maybe make it a little more concrete, like meaning what niche are you in? If you want more success on YouTube, your niche is like the foundation. The topic of the channel is the foundation, and kind of like personal development, overcoming fear is really not helping me solve a specific problem. I get it. Fear is a specific problem, but it's kind of vague, as opposed to like having more power in my, soccer kick from afar, or like our next person that's coming on, like how to use Canva. And we are absolutely obsessed with our mission here at Think Media to help 1 million purpose-driven people go full-time on YouTube. So for what it's worth, I want to encourage you to continue to explore, Gabriel, to say, out of what I am passionate about, how could I maybe pick something I'm also proficient at that also could be more profitable and really elevate the brand and the focus of your channel more? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome, bro. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right, friends, this is Coffee with Cannell. We've got a bunch of people on deck, so we're going to keep it moving. Smash like if you're getting value. And we got a super chat that I'll answer in a second. But next up is Jennifer. And so, Jennifer, welcome to Coffee with Cannell. The Creator Classroom is in the house. How's it going?
I cannot believe I am in this position right now. It's going.
I'm so fired up that you're on. I've got your channel pulled up. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do and what your question is.
So the quick explanation is I teach people how to use Canva for YouTube. And what you're seeing is a trial. And basically I've gone from a faceless channel to one where I had a cheap webcam to where people could actually see me too. Now I obviously have a better camera situation, and I started experimenting this month. Well, technically, I guess it was last month, but the videos are coming out now where I'm experimenting, filming in different locations of my house like this, to try to see if I could improve different areas of maybe audience retention or engagement or things like that. And I'm just sort of wondering, how long do I keep this up before I look at analytics, or what analytics I should look at to see if I'm going in the right direction?
What does your hunch tell you from shifting from a faceless channel to sharing your face and a little bit more lifestyle stuff before you get into the tutorial? Have you had a feedback loop from the comments? Has anybody mentioned anything? And what does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me I'm heading in the right direction based on there were more comments. Not necessarily saying I like what you're doing, but there seem to be more comments on these last 2 videos than there were in previous ones. And so my gut is telling me I'm heading in the right direction, but I also don't know what analytics to look for to see if the numbers match up with my gut.
Amazing. So yeah, tip number 1, let's double down on that. It is interesting that you say this is your second to newest video, and reading some of the comments. Very informative video. Nice work. You got a comment here, but this right here, your intros are cracking me up. This is such great info too.
To be fair, I know she's in VRA, so we have
okay.
So,
but even still, it felt like, because I looked at some of your other videos in general, are these also some other, just more people jumping in the comments, or is it VRA?
Only 2 of them do I like know. Well, Ray's in there too, but yeah, a lot of them are people that I've seen commenting or have come to live streams and things, but only 2 are people that I talk with regularly outside of the YouTube channel.
So bottom line is, for you, and of course contextualizing this for everybody watching, I think you want to look for bright spots, even if it's just one thing. If you've never gotten a comment, you get one comment, you're like, okay, that's a little bit of a feedback loop. Can I go a little bit deeper on that? So I think initially your intuition is probably right on with seeing within the comments. But then to your question, I could share some things to respond to in terms of how can you actually analyze the data? And if I was you, this is what I would do. One, I would look at your like to dislike percentages, and or just which when you go inside of your creator studio, right? If you just go next to content and go to the far right on the video, it'll say something like 97%, 98%, 96%.
I don't typically have a whole lot of dislikes. I don't typically have a whole lot of.
Good. So it's
Yeah.
those that are clicking the button, which is, again, it just would be a signal. If for some reason 50% of people dislike the video, that's not just probably haters. Of course, we could get dislike botted or something, but ultimately it's probably a good feedback loop. So we have a couple good comments. We've got some good likes. Then the next would just be these numbers compared to past numbers. Looking at your channel stats, good views, 120 new subscribers in the last month. You've uploaded 12 videos. The vital signs of your channel are looking good. And so I think it's about doubling down. And you also, if we look at your most popular videos, they have grown over time with you teaching specific things. And therefore,
those were all faceless. I think most of those, except for maybe.
Yeah, these are all a year to 2 year old. And if you only recently changed, I guess my point is it is too early to tell.
Yeah.
Because some of your most recent tutorials teach you specific skills take 1 to 2 years to get 13,000 views or 30,000 views. And also that's going to be topic based, period. Because whether it's faceless or not, it's does somebody care about the topic? Is that the thing they want to learn most? You know, I would say that tutorial wise, my one caution is if it takes, 20 seconds to get into the content, I think that might not be the best way to open the video. And it's not that one, you are no longer faceless if you bring on the webcam and you're in the lower, whatever corner.
Yeah.
But two, I think it's also interesting you want to always tease potentially, you want to tease the payoff. So if this is create 30 YouTube posts fast, you might say, and if I click this button and this button, boom, and it goes and there's my 30 posts. I'm going to show you how to do this in this video. So, okay, now like they're teased as to why they're there. You then get into the content, but maybe midway through you insert a deeper teaching and you're in your kitchen while doing it. So it's almost also the order and the structure of things. Faceless or not, the perfect video recipe still applies. Like hook fast, cut to the chase, get to the point. But my final takeaway would be, I really think you're on the right track, because the problem with the faceless channel is the lack of community and connection. And your ultimate goal, community, is what the YouTube creators who succeed over the long haul and in the future are going to build communities, which mean they're going to build actual connections with people and not just have one-off informational videos. Those could do all right, because a good video paying you ad revenue and maybe link to affiliate marketing or whatever, a Canva affiliate sign up, that could bring in some money. But to build a brand is going to be people that make a connection with you, and you stirring up whatever drink that is in your kitchen is a really good way. What is it?
Well, what was in there was just almond milk with some things. But basically here I was saying, sometimes making videos get in the way of life, and sometimes life gets in the way of making videos.
Yes.
And then it goes into this is how you can make 30 YouTube posts fast.
Yep. And I love it. So I think that you're on the right track. I love that you have jumped on camera. I love that the feedback loop seems to be positive. The numbers seem to be good. I would just continue to look at the likes and dislikes, look at the views, look at the overall results, and look at the comments. Even if they're small bright spots, we do build on that momentum. I know that many are watching this and maybe they're discouraged because they're like, I'm not getting any feedback. But the cool thing is your channel is doing incredibly well and healthy. So I think you lean into it and you just continue to analyze. Has that been helpful, Jennifer?
It has. And I just really wanted to say thank you, because without I feel like without Think Media, VRA, and then even the subset community that I've built out of VRA, I wouldn't even be on camera right now. So thank you.
Well, Jennifer, I'm humbled that you're part of our community, and I'm so grateful for you. And your channel is awesome, and I think it's something that everybody watching this should consider subscribing, because the practicality. I've actually learned Photoshop, but completely abandoned it because of speed when I make quick thumbnails or whatnot, just because of how powerful Canva is. But there's so many things I don't know how to do in Canva. So obviously, YouTube creators are watching this.
Well,
So
I guess Sean needs to go watch.
that's right. The Creator Classroom. If you want to check out Jennifer's channel and up your thumbnail game, as well as so many different ways, community tab posts, or even visuals for inside of your content and more. Jennifer, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks.
All right, friends, this is Coffee with Cannell. And now you're seeing we're back. I've got my coffee. I've got my Rise and Shine cup. I wish it said Rise and Grind. But whatever, I'm sipping on some Ethiopian single origin. I take it back. It's Colombian coffee from Onyx Coffee today. I'm excited for a couple of our guests that are coming up. I want to answer a super chat though. And the Coffee with Cannell show is where we start off with like 10 minutes of teaching. We shared 4+1 analytic as we studied YouTube shorts, and if they're good or bad or indifferent. And so definitely watch the replay if you're just jumping on, but we are getting into some nuanced coaching today on the Coffee with Cannell show. A couple super chats. The patience and positivity of Sean is truly impressive and inspiring. White Lion, I appreciate you. Thank you for the $23.23 super chat. What's the meaning of the 2020? Is there 2-3? Is it 2023? Let me know. I really appreciate it though. Super grateful for you. Living in his glory. Hi, Sean. The Holy Spirit just placed in my heart that you're currently grieving. He sees you, brother, and he's with you to get you through it. God bless you, brother. You're doing an amazing job. I really appreciate you, appreciate your love that you're sending me. And thank you for your prayers and everything else. Eva, finally getting intentional, trying to grow 2 channels. I put up my shorts on Wimbledon, but some got a copyright claim in my first strike. How do people remake shorts highlights without getting a copyright claim? Deep question. Okay. I'm not sure, Eva, if you're in VRA, but we have a whole thing on fair use. Mastering fair use is important. It doesn't mean, and there's going to be certain things like the UFC is pretty strict. Wimbledon's maybe, I wouldn't even say strict, aggressive. Wimbledon might be really aggressive. The UFC might be really aggressive. Your goal is to become a fair use expert or become dangerous in your fair use knowledge, and to make sure that you're creating an original work. For a quick mid Coffee with Cannell teaching here on fair use, let me clean up the screen here and take you over to this diagram, which will hope to maybe create some clarity in the fair use confusion. So when it comes to fair use, number one, it's not even YouTube that decides. It's actually the courts that decide. Number two, UFC, Wimbledon, they can flag your video for copyright. It doesn't mean you deserve it. You can contest it. That's just the nature of how YouTube works. So number three, it's also kind of a spectrum. There's no like black or white, as you can see here. There's like an overlap of these things, and fair use is somewhere in the middle. So if you commentate or react to tennis and something from the NBA or whatever, and only a small portion of the original material used, that's better. If also you're creating a new work and you're making sure your critique is there, or satire or education around it, that's important. So maybe you're not just reacting, but you're also critiquing it. You share some tips from it. If you also share multiple different things, you're a lot better off than if you just react to one thing. So if you react to clips from multiple sources, maybe an article and a clip from the stream and multiple things and small portions. 3, benefit to the users predominantly other than commercial. If you're not like heavily leveraging it. Now you can get YouTube ads. You may, be growing your brand or whatever. But if it's more of a community-based thing, that's an aspect. And if it's a new work, predominantly original product of you, the creator, again, you're not just like playing through straight through or reacting to it or just uploading their clip straight through on a short, but you've done something new to it. That could be editing, text, pausing, again, just remixing it truly, not this feature remix, like actually remixing it in with sound, music, visuals, text, images, photos. And then you haven't actually diminished the commercial value of the original. In fact, the original would be promoted. More people would be pumped about disc golf, NBA, Wimbledon, tennis, the new Spider-Man, like the new video game. Smart brands actually want people to commentate and talk about and share and react to. Smart sports franchises want people to do that because the original value of the sports franchise is improved, not diminished. You're not just re-uploading a movie, you're reacting to clips and more people want to go see the movie. So you're not just re-uploading episodes of Succession, you're doing character breakdowns of the characters in Succession, creating more interest in the show, and maybe even bringing people to rewatch episodes. So actually, like, if possible, stacking these things, this isn't even an exhaustive list. You don't even have to necessarily do all of these, but if you did what you see on screen, all 5 of these, then chances are you're pretty clean in the center of fair use. If you are in the center of fair use and then someone copyright strikes you, you appeal it and you explain that. You articulate, hey, YouTube, no, actually, like, I only use 7% of the clip. And by the way, if you steal some of this language, so like rewind this video, steal some of that language and be like, I only use a small portion of material. Number 2, it was satire the whole time. You're defending yourself. YouTube can reverse the copyright strike, reverse the claim. And even if UFC or Wimbledon claims monetization, you could get that back. My friend Charlie from Charisma on Command has ran into this stuff consistently because he will take famous people, famous clips. These are movie clips. These are known people. And Ryan Gosling clips are in his video, but notice how much he's doing here. Edits are spinning. Text is showing up. There's a voiceover you can't hear right now. There's tips and education being overlaid on the content. There's multiple different sources of content put in there. And that's actually, he's the one who let me know how aggressive the UFC is. Because if he did a Conor McGregor video, they're like, boom, that's ours. And they take his monetization. And it was frustrating because he didn't get his monetization for maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks while he disputed it. But here's what I learned. He won the dispute. And this is just the grittiness you need if you're going to play with OPC, other people's content, not OPP, naughty by nature. OPC, other people's content under fair use. You just got to be sharp, got to be willing to argue your case, continue to stay educated, and to continue to improve your content. My worry is maybe that you, maybe you deserved it, or maybe like it really kind of was a legitimate copyright claim. But after this explanation, if you think you've got a good ground to stand on, I would appeal it. And I wouldn't shrink back, although in some cases you might get discouraged because there's certain niches, perhaps, again, UFC is too intense. But like, for example, Nolan has a sports channel at Think Media, a faceless channel using like popular clips and images, and has had a few people flag his videos, but has won those appeals and has generated tens of thousands of dollars with a new channel that he started on the side, OPC. Faceless, OPC, fair use. But it's no joke. And that's why one of the portions of VRA Masters, the second part of our main program, goes deep into these strategies and tips and deeper than I can go here. But I hope that's helpful. Demons Rose says, can you help? You helped me grow to almost 300,000. Awesome. It's Speed Demon, not okay. It's Speed Demon, not that had ones. It's a biker channel. Can you give me a critique on what I could do better? All right. If I understand the question, Demons Row, biker channel, the holy grail of motorcycle and motorcycle club culture. Let's check out the channel. I would say this. I don't know if I love your logo in every thumbnail. From a branding standpoint, I think it's working. If it works for you, you could keep doing it. But and maybe so you get recommended, it makes sense. I also might move it off to the side. It maybe could be a little bit smaller. I also wonder, it gets kind of like a lot of your thumbnails. I understand the culture is kind of black leather, but like kind of black on black on black. I almost wonder if like your avatar was white, meaning the background was white, it would make the logo pop more. Then I wonder what the text would be, but because it's stroked black, it still might be all right. But does that make sense? I think it is visible, but if you threw, the key word here is contrast. And black on black is no contrast, but black on white is extreme contrast. Black text, you get the idea, but like, a red circle with white text would pop. And then you theoretically could go to the lower left-hand corner to kind of brand, which it looks like you do in the actual videos. So like even that is kind of interesting. And then it could, you could kind of have best of both worlds there. I mean, with the kind of growth you've had, apparently this is definitely working. Couple just quick tips as we get ready for our next guest, which can you repost for me, Victoria, who's next down at the bottom? I'm looking at the private chat right now. And Success Leaves Clues, make part 2s. So look at some of your best performing topics. Whether that's about Hell's Angels. Obviously, when you were talking about Antifa here, that was a story based. Is there anything fresh about that? Thomas is up next, then Hector. All right, thank you. I also generally think that your thumbnails are too busy for my liking, and they're kind of crushing it. So I want to take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, because if you're pulling 1 million views on a video, then great. I will say this though. This is kind of a gritty, nitty gritty tip for all. It's the joy of watching, or the opportunity of watching Coffee with Candles. We could get into something as ninja as this. Smash like if you're getting value. If you have a video that's in your library that's doing well, if you have a video in your library that's getting views, that's old and keeps getting views every single week. If you're using something like vidIQ, I could see that you have a video here on the 1%er patch, meaning and what patch is not to wear. This video is a year old and it continues to get 4 views an hour. Pretty good. So 4 views every single hour. I can see that with vidIQ on the right side of the screen here. You can go in to a video, watch this, that again is getting real-time views. So let me go check out one of my videos now. This is what you would do. You would go to a video that, let's take Nolan's video here. Analytics. Reach 7 days. All right, here we go. And what we could see in the last week, we could see that and we're going to go to impressions right here, is that this video is getting 22,522 impressions a day. And it's kind of hovering at that level. Now watch. You can take an old winner like this and change and update the thumbnail. Only do one thing at a time. You'd call this split test. Change the thumbnail and then wait for 1, 2, 3, 4 days and see. Now, this YouTube search, which is maybe it's going to do the same, but even a little bit of the browse features, perhaps this blows up and starts popping off in browse because the thumbnail drives the click-through rate up. It's already a pretty good click-through rate, but ultimately, here's the key. The way you know when you make a change to the video, and this only really works, it doesn't work on a new video, it works on a video that's seasoned, is, oh my gosh, it's now getting 30,000 impressions a day. Or it goes down and you're like, shoot, I hope I didn't kill it. We'll just switch it back to the old one. Give it 4 days. Give it a week. Now, there is software, 2 things. YouTube has announced that they are going to let us split test thumbnails. It'll change everything. We could test up to 3 thumbnails. When you upload a new video, you upload 3 different thumbnails, and then it'll split test them, and then it'll pick the winner. I wonder what that tool will do for us weeks, months, or years into it. But in the meantime, if the channel your size with the money that's coming in, I would check out, I think it's called Thumbnail Test. Victoria can drop a link to it in the chat and we'll hook you up. Nolan did a video on it. And so it's a tool that'll kind of help you do this for you. And it's kind of, if you're at your level, it definitely makes sense because you could go back to your old winners and we'll drop Nolan's video that he did to that as well. And the other thing you could do is you also can split test titles. But that, my friend, would be something interesting because the thumbnails are resonating with your audience, but they are kind of cluttered. They're very busy. If they just spoke loudly and clearly, less words, less, the patches maybe matter, but man, the fact that like the problem with this thumbnail, and we'll end here, and I really appreciate you. I hope this has been helpful. I think this will help you, is we literally have like a bike, which is busy. It's all the same black. Then we have the jackets and your logo and the text. If all you did here, in my opinion, was ditch the logo and the jackets in the background and give me some contrast, which I may be violating the culture, because if we have to be black everything because it's black leather everything, then I guess it is what it is. But if it was just kind of like a blue, then what I'd be able to see here is I could actually see these 4 patches. They would be more isolated. And then even if it still said patches to stay away from, we could be good. And I think what we're after for our small thumbnail class is kind of like, again, back to contrast. Look at this very live stream we're on, is minimal amount of things in the thumbnail. Me, a phone, the shorts logo, a simplistic background, so that it's distinct. I would argue even on this page, these are some other good thumbnails, but less is more. And so we're trying to apply best practice, the rule of 3, not too many words. I mean, simplicity. And I think that that's one tweak going forward. You're doing a lot of things right. I think not only could you success leaves clues, make part 2s, I think you could improve your thumbnail game, but I think you could take some of your old winners that are getting real-time views, test some thumbnails, either with the software that Nolan recommends, or just you could do it manually, as I just described. And with that, smash like, because Coffee with Cannell is back in the house. And I think we got Thomas on deck. Thomas, how are you?
Hello. Doing good. Yeah. Nice to finally chat with you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Number one, let me just say this. I want to send you massive love and respect and gratitude for how active you are in VRA, in the comments, in our community. I see you everywhere. And it really means the world to me. And I really appreciate you.
I appreciate it. And I mean, thank you too, because I think it works. On my channel, from mid-May to now, I went from 500 subs to just over 2,000 because I had a viral for me video, the one video changes it all type thing. It's that top one there.
By the way, your thumbnail game is really good.
I paid for a thumbnail artist now. I decided to invest it. If you scroll down some, you'll see some terrible thumbnails from my older stuff. And you can see like a huge change, I think, for sure.
How much per thumbnail?
I'm paying $50 per thumbnail. We're doing a flat rate. And, the most recent one with kind of that airplane window and stuff, I feel like didn't have as much detail. But for a lot of them, it's, especially like this one here, he's doing a lot of work into it, I feel like, for sure.
No, this is like one of the great thumbnails of all time. Like, I mean,
this is like Omar's phone for the eyes, right? Or the use your phone for a webcam, like giant eyes.
Yeah, I mean, like that, but I mean, also no words, but the red X meets the simplicity, the clarity, the storytelling. And I think it just it goes to show how important thumbnails can be. So carry on.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, with this one here, originally this is like mid-May when I posted this. I had kind of the initial, I'm not going to dive too deep in my analytics because I don't have enough views to really get good data anyway, right? It's a small sample size. But now this video is approaching 100K, and I'm trying to, kind of continue on the success of that. The whole success leaves clues, make part twos. And I'm wondering, what clues should I be looking for, I guess, specifically? Now that I have data in analytics to look at this, I want to do my best there. Shorts were not working out for me, by the way. I posted earlier in the chat that I don't care for shorts too much, so I haven't been doing that as much. My community posts are doing really well. I've been doing quizzes lately, so I think one of them got 250 or 300 responses or something like that too. So those are doing good. I found something for the niche that they like a lot. I'm even getting engagement in the comments there. So like that's all doing great. But specifically for that viral video, now it's like, okay, how do I capture that as best as possible? That one video gave me my 4,000 watch hours. It gave me the 1,000 subs and all of that. So it's been great. I'm at like $100 now for RPM in 8 days. So I'm pretty happy with that. Thank you.
I want to jump into some tips, but I do need to hear from you a couple things. Number one, congrats on your success. Number two, I'm super grateful that you are part of Think Media and VRA and you've applied all this stuff, but there's no doubt about it. You deserve the accolades and the respect, and you've put in the work. But I just want you to speak to some of the people watching live or on the replay, because this is what I love, is I've been able to watch your journey. This has taken so much grit and patience and probably some discouraging times. And is this going to break through? Like, what's been the timeline here, and what's been some of the mindsets and mentality you've had to develop to press through when growth wasn't happening?
Yeah. It's, I'll try to be somewhat concise with it, but my first video went up December 13th last year. And I actually copied Think Media in the sense of Christmas gift ideas for scuba divers. And I think that was one of the videos you talk about in your live streams, where it was gifts for him, I think was their Christmas thing. And then you always talk about how you made like a $2 Amazon affiliate as a first check. I made over $100 my first Amazon check from that first video. And it was just using what Think Media said. I copy pasted Think Media's description into Word and like made edits for, making it relevant for me with my own social media links and affiliate links from Amazon affiliates and stuff. And my end screens are the Think Media end screen edited with my branding. I'll just shamelessly say that. So, cool. Definitely took inspiration. I think similar to VRA and Shailene's program, right? So, I know you talked about taking inspiration from that. So I had really cool success with that. That first video had like 1,000 views as a brand new channel. And I was like, wow, earned income. It got views. I had comments on here. Like, that's pretty awesome. I'm motivated. And then from that January to February timeframe, it hit the like typical, hey, this is a new channel. You're not going to get very many views and you're trying to figure things out, and was just kind of throwing things out there, kind of seeing what would stick. Had to kind of reevaluate the avatar approach and saying like, who am I actually targeting here? Because I had a general idea of like, oh, all scuba divers, and scuba divers want all of this information. But as a new channel, I found that I really need to niche down in the sense of like, make a series of videos that are all for the same type of person and the same stage of content that I'm in. So I'm making educational scuba diving content. I need to make beginner scuba diving videos for someone that's just getting started. And what questions did I have when I started as a scuba diver that I couldn't find answers to? And that way, when someone finds an answer to that, there's more content relevant to that same stage that they're in, versus just content relevant to all scuba divers where, they might not be at that medium stage or advanced stage yet. And that content will be relevant to those people. But, having, I guess, looking at the algorithm and thinking about what can it suggest next for this person? So, so that video specifically was on mask fogging. So if you've ever worn goggles on the pool, or you wear a mask when you snorkel or something like that, it fogs up on you. It tells you how to prevent that. The next video I made, or right before that, was choosing a mask that fits properly and stopping it from leaking, which would be in the exact same buying process, basically. So like those types of things kind of help me out and help me push on. Having like a huge backlog of video ideas, having the VRA community check-ins, every week, and the different accountability posts was great. And then really just, I think, just knowing that like it's going to take time and being patient, just like any other skill, you have to put the reps in. I'm working on losing weight right now, and over 6 months, you might lose 1 pound a week or something like that, or less. But in 6 months, you're then down 25 pounds, and you look back and you actually notice a difference at that point, right? So I think that's the biggest thing. I think people look at short-term things. This one video didn't do well, or this, this last month I experimented with something that didn't do well, but this video, I think it took 30 days before it started popping off on views, and it had maybe 5,000 views to start with. And then for whatever reason, and goes back to my question, I guess, for whatever reason, it started picking up traction and then just took off on. There you go. Yeah. 7 days after published, it started going, and it's just been going ever since. So it's interesting. At the very beginning, what's the analytic for 3 days? What did it say? 200 views, I think.
Yeah. It went day 1, 104 views, day 2, 223, day 3, about 350. And then now it's going to be at 100,000, but it's getting 255 views an hour. So this one video is just crushing for you.
Yeah. So, I guess to that point, right, I'm posting once a week. So at 7 days, I'm getting ready to post my next video. I could have just focused basically on the newest video and said, oh, the last one had 300 views like everything else. No big deal. But instead, like now I saw like, holy crap, this one's getting traction now. I pay for vidIQ too. So I saw the views per hour ticking up. And yeah, that definitely like changed my mentality, I guess, a little bit more. And now it's just been over the last month and a half, 2 months of posting, it's bringing all my other videos up. They're all getting more awareness too. I'm even getting like end screen click through. So I know my watch time's going up and my retention's going up too. But I'm just trying to figure out like, what do I actually look at? So
yeah,
I see chat, but I'm not watching it. Sorry, y'all.
Love it. So, and just to encourage everybody watching, you really are one video away. One video is not enough for a 10-year career, but just the persistence, you just never know when you're going to break out. But also, you're not just one video away repeating the same things that aren't working every day. It's all about getting 1% better with every upload. And clearly from the thumbnail to the topic, I do think what's interesting could be to think about what is part 2. As we could see here, there's maybe, and that doesn't need to be a next video, but like a lot of people are probably subscribing for this, and maybe there is some wipes. You would know more. I don't know what this person's doing. There is some different tools or things that tie into it, and it may not do as good as the original, but Success Leaves Clues make part 2s. This topic of fogging, mass clearing underwater. That's interesting. Like, how do you talk about all this in it?
So that's actually dealing with like, when you're scuba diving, you might be 60 feet or 18 meters down. And if water leaks into your mask, you can't exactly like take it off and shake it like you would if you're at the surface. So there's actually ways, it's a skill that they teach you when you get certified to clear out the water.
So why wouldn't you make this video with 250,000 views? It's 10 years old. It needs an update.
Yeah. And, and that's actually something that I would say I'm looking at doing now too, is I am looking at like these common search terms or common things in scuba diving and finding the most popular videos. And I'm doing the Success Leaves Clue make parts 2 for my competitors.
Smart.
It's been 6 years since one of them had like 1.4 million views or something like that in the list you just showed. So like, why hasn't there been a video in 6 years that's done any updates to that? And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. And then with the thumbnails, that was strategic for me to invest that now. I'm able to pay that out of pocket for my day job. But specifically, I found that in my niche, there's usually fairly low quality, I would say, in terms of thumbnails and video editing as well. And I'm doing the editing myself still right now. So that's definitely helped, I would say.
I love it. I think that it's inspiring to hear your success. Would it have been relevant to talk about this recent tragedy that happened with the little ship that went to the Titanic?
So it probably would have been. I didn't really want to touch the topic, to be honest, because it's just such a sensitive thing in nature. People lost their lives. And at the time when it was going on, I thought about making content for it. It was also, it's in a lot of unknowns. And I'm not an expert in submarines or anything like that either to really speak to that. So I would have reiterated, the collection of what all the news stories were saying, basically, of what could have happened or something like that. And I don't have a good way to put like an educational spin as an expert to say, like, well, this is why they couldn't just open the hatch and swim to the surface, or something like that. Sure. I didn't really want to speak to that too much, and I was a little worried about the sensitivity of the topic.
Well, number one, I totally respect that. Yeah. Number two, that's probably what you should have done. But number three, just to maybe address some mindsets, not trying to over usurp number one and number two, but I do think the nature of your channel, if I'm subscribed to you or I'm looking to you, I'm not surprised if you're commentating on that. And I want to encourage everyone watching that sometimes our biggest opportunities are on the other side of getting uncomfortable. Again, not getting unethical or not getting like going against something that you just don't feel good about, but sometimes the resistance is just, this might be polarizing, or this might be, and I heard something powerful from a speaker at VidCon that I just spoke at recently, and they actually said the posts that you're most scared about, the ones you have the most anxiety about, the most fear about posting, are maybe what you should lean into. And I'm convinced 99% of creators are missing out on a lot of growth because they're playing it safe. Now, the conclusion I'm trying to make is not that you should have actually done that, because you still might have known what your convictions are and you stood there. But I would also, the one other thing I'd want to hit is, you're like, well, everyone's already covered it. Yeah, true, but not true, because not everyone's watching everybody else, or they're not as educated as you, or they're not subscribed to who you are. Their homepage isn't the same. And so on the long tail of trending news, it's not a bad idea to jump in. Like, everyone's already talked about Threads, I'd argue. Twitter Threads just dropped, Twitter, and I just made a whole podcast that we're releasing this weekend. That's about 40 minutes of not just my probably 20 hours of Threads experience, but I watched Brock Johnson's video, and I watched Cold Fusion, and I watched a couple of the other videos, and I synthesized all the above. And some of these videos already had 1 million views, and Cold Fusion had 300,000, but people are following Think Media Podcast, our other channel, because they want my context and point of. So anyways, just to say, I'm not saying you did anything that you shouldn't have done. And however, in the future, just because you feel resistance, or just because like, oh, what can I add to the conversation? I think the final thing there is like not pretending to know something you don't, but just sharing, like, it could just be factual. It literally could just be like, hey, this is what's happened. This is what you need to know. And if you can't even find, but it's the creative spin as it relates to your channel and Scuba. And if it doesn't fit, you don't force it. But maybe the big lesson that I think is worthwhile for our entire community watching this is that idea of, if you feel resistance, or if you feel uncomfortable, or if you feel fear, or if you feel anxiety, that doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't push past it. It is a good warning sign. It's like a check engine light. Let's fix that and figure out that emotion. But a lot of people, not trying to overemphasize this one video, but I think have incredible growth opportunities waiting for them on the other side of publishing the video they're afraid to make.
Yeah, I don't want to like ask a second question necessarily, but maybe you'll address this anyway. But more of like, as a small creator, also 1 video a week is probably my limit with my full-time job, and I am editing myself still right now. I want to invest in an editor eventually, but I'm not able to just yet. So it's also like with those trend jacking type moments and news type events, you have to be so quick for it.
Good point.
So I mean, yes, I could have made a short or something like that and just hit record, left it way less edited, but then. Yeah, I talked myself out of it because it's like, due to the sensitive nature, I really want to plan this properly and be clear in what I say and be careful about how I say certain things. And that definitely helped me back from the sense of like, well, I got some other stuff recorded in my batch session, and like, maybe I'll just keep with my schedule versus touching that right now. And and just leave it be. But those are good points, though. I appreciate it.
And that sounds like wisdom. I wouldn't, when something's sensitive, you don't want to rush. You don't just want to headline read. You want to do your due diligence. So your awareness that maybe you don't have the time to do that, even if you hustled, is also, I would always opt towards wisdom. Proverb says haste makes mistakes, and in this idea. So it is a balance. It's a tension to be managed, not like really a problem to be solved. But the final thing I'd say, is, keep doing what you're doing. You've got so much momentum, so you want to keep writing that. But I would be looking for, and I think you're doing this, but I would be looking for simpler videos to make. These look like, you're saying you have limited time. We all can relate to that. But at 19 minutes and 28 minutes, anyone who's been on YouTube for a while has eventually discovered sometimes that actually maybe one of their simplest videos, I don't know how hard like this was, for example, sometimes can generate decent results if you just pull some footage. So like maybe it's a listicle, you know, of some kind and whatnot. But what I'm getting at is just ultimately increasing uploads.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at right now, invested in an editor instead, because I think, like, I mean, I'm literally, today's Thursday. I have to, well, I don't have to. I'm giving myself the deadline of Tuesday as an upload date. I'll give myself grace if need be, but every Tuesday I upload is my goal. So, I mean, I have Premiere Pro open right now in the background, and I'm scrambling to cut a 35-minute video down even more because it is too long if I'm going to throw in the level of B-roll that I usually throw in and all of that too. So yeah, I need to start getting ahead. I batch record, but I just can't seem to get ahead on the editing right now. And I think it's because I make longer videos and I'm a bit too much of a perfectionist. Roberto Blake says it really well, where he talks about, like, you don't need to hit high quality. You need to hit high enough quality for the expectation of the audience. And, you know, I think that I need to work on that aspect of balancing a little bit more. But I guess for the question on, like, you do have a viral for you video, and I have other videos that are being, you know, risen up from that. I have a couple approaching 10K video or 10K views now and stuff like that. Are there any, like, specific stats or metrics that you would look at to say, like, hey, how do I repeat this best? Like, you know, or is it really looking at retention graph and, like, looking at every spike and saying, like, do more of this and try more of this? Or, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. Final tips as we land the plane, we get ready for Hector. A couple things. One, I would deeply read every comment. You probably have read some, but I'd go back now and look at where does this lead you next? Because now people are paying attention and they may be looking for and great job, by the way, seeing how much you've responded here. So what can man, you're on the one that was 14 hours ago. So I like it. And then also, though, this other one that's been risen back up. So that'd be one thing. Like, eventually there's enough internal momentum. Your engagement with your community is literally incredible. So clearly, I think that would be interesting. One of the problems with your audience attention curve thing that you're mentioning is the time codes. I'm not suggesting you don't use them, but it's going to be messing with spikes in audience interest, because it just spikes at every point. One of the things we realized, though, we're doing clips on our video podcast. We looked at, like, my interview with Patrick Bet-David. I don't believe it is any time codes, and it's a general just decline, but you could see, even if they're small, bumps in audience retention.
Yeah.
Those are the clips. Like, and it's funny because as soon as you get there, it makes sense. It's like the beginning of an idea. I looked at one with my friend Rory Vaden, and he was like, here's like the four SAM or whatever. It was like success, amplification, and money. I made that up. That wasn't that, but it was like he had like some kind of framework. And it was at that framework that someone rewinded. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's a clip, the interest in the audience retention curve. So, but to that end, so two things that happen there. One, that's a clip to cut out of our video podcast. Two, it could be like, oh, I should have Rory back on and do a whole episode about the thing that he only took 60 seconds to talk about. We could probably talk about that for 30 minutes. So I do think that that's interesting. But I do want to keep it moving. So it's been really great hanging out. And I think my biggest macro advice for you right now is steward this well. You've put in a lot of work. You've put in a lot of patience. You've got some momentum going on. When I feel it, for me, I want to lean in, not lean back. Right. It's like you're catching speed skiing. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, it's getting kind of like, it's actually leaning even more. I think you're making a courageous move to invest money, not just in thumbnails, but into editing. And I would say that looking at your analytics, I feel it. I think it's happening. I think there's some magic happening. Mm-hmm. You're very clearly learning and absorbing a lot and applying it. So I think incredible things are waiting for you on just the other side of continuing to do what you already need to do, being really bold and finding a way to really lean in on this. Congrats on the success.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Thomas. All right, Coffee with Cannell. Listen, we've got Hector coming up. We're going to get as far as we can. I see Mark and Lucky. We'll see if we could get that far. But I do want to ask you, if you haven't clicked the like button, can you click the like button? Number two, if you haven't registered for the tube1kchallenge.com, I highly recommend. If you are serious about taking your YouTube channel to another level, I think, Thomas, thumbs up me if you ever, were you ever in a challenge? I'm not sure if you ever were, but let me know. Physically, I can see you in the backstage. Thumbs down if you weren't, and this will defeat my point. Thomas jumped off, so I don't even know if he has. I'm guessing he has. At some point, a lot of people in our community, they take the bold move and they commit to 5 days where it's you roll your sleeves up, we put in the work, we challenge you every day to really start or grow your YouTube channel. It's a free event. It's 5 days, tube1kchallenge.com. Link in the description down below. It starts a little bit later this month, in the month of July. So you've got some time to prepare. There's limited replays, but you can be there live. We give away a camera and a YouTube studio and a Sony camera and all kinds of cool stuff. Tube1kchallenge.com is happening soon. Next, super chat, Dad's Den. Shorts help my channel blow up. But ultimately, my long form views tanked. It's killing my channel. I'm struggling after shorts blew up. Dad's Den, only you really know. But here's the challenge. Let me just give you maybe some counter perspective for you to do your own research. So he's saying, number one, shorts blew up. And so to us, he's not kidding. He's got 103 million views on his top viewed short, 48 million, 36 million. We're talking major shorts views. Okay. So what he's saying, though, is he's saying my channel blew up, but it's killing my channel because of long form views have gone down. Okay. And long form is what pays the bills. Perhaps on a channel like this, there's no link up here. It's maybe ad revenue. Okay. And what we're saying is, our theory is long form is tanked. So I don't know how long we've been doing shorts, but it looks like whether it's a 2,000 views, 5,000, maybe 35,000. But in this era of shorts, perhaps I'm trying to see how far back we have to go to see what it was previously. 6 months ago, 15,000, 16, 13, 24, 17,000, 36,000. And what I'm after is, are we accurately assessing that our views have dropped? So I don't know how long you've been doing shorts, but over the last year, we're at like a 83. I would bet this is based on a little bit of topic, though. But 83 and 3,000 and 11,000, 36, 57,000, 263, because you reacted to a certain lyric video or whatever. And I definitely see that you had, quote unquote, more like, if you will, bigger bangers a little while ago. And then when we fast forward to today, 400, 1,000. But here was just what I just proposed to you questions. Is the world a little bit more crowded right now? Is like your niche, or other people reacting to stuff? Is it summer? Are people just a little bit more checked out? You're not just competing with like other people doing your same content. You're competing with Silo on Apple TV Plus, the greatest show of the year. You can quote me. Smash like if you're a Hugh Howey Silo fan. And if you've read the books and you're a real one and you didn't just jump on this recent trend, but you've been a real one like me and you read all 3 Silo saga series trilogy years ago when it came out. Really weird thing to brag about. So you're competing with shows, Hulu, Netflix, you're competing with it all. And is this an invitation? You got 12,000 views 2 days ago, right? Is this an invitation to level up your game, get your topics sharp, your thumbnails sharp, your videos sharp? You got 35,000 views 2 months ago. Is this an invitation? Is it actually correlated that shorts forced your other videos down? You're studying your analytics more than I am. You're doing the work. But I think that it's important to ask those questions. Hard to answer without really, and maybe a greater YouTube analytics expert than I could look into the back end and see some of those things. But I'm really glad you brought this up. Dad's Den's here, and he says, now that you asked those questions, yes, my channel was hottest when it was COVID. And there certainly could be some credence to what you say, but I'm so glad this topic came up today on Coffee with Cannell, because what can happen is we can outsource our responsibility to make a perhaps false correlation that my shorts blew up and my views are down and it's shorts' fault, when really that could be an invitation to be aware of what happened in the past. How do I need to innovate? And then, by the way, no matter what the truth is, the only real path forward for true winners that win over successive months and years is to never let there be excuses, to say, okay, well, if shorts are causing my channel to go down, then let me improve my content that much more. Let me improve my long form videos. We also have what's called confirmation bias. So sometimes we come to a conclusion and then we reinform that based on, oh, shorts did this. Well, let's go find a channel that both their longs and their shorts are up. And that channel is innovating. We got to outwork, outlast, out strategize. And the other one, the competition. We got to outwork, out strategize, out learn, and outlast the competition. So we keep putting the work in. Maybe you need a fresh strategy, fresh topics. Out learn, go back into the gym, go back to let me get sharp again. Let me up my storytelling. Let me up my game. Let me out learn. What have I been studying lately? What have I invested in? How am I developing? How am I sharpening my skills? Ecclesiastes 10:10 says, using a dull blade requires great strength. So sharpen the axe. That's the value of wisdom. It helps you succeed. If we're on our YouTube channel exhausted, it's like trying to cut down a tree when your axe is dull. I grew up on 6 acres. I chopped a lot of firewood in my day. It was a whole different deal if I was trying to split firewood and chop firewood with a really dull, chipping maul axe. Whole nother deal. You spend a little bit of time not doing the work, but sharpening the axe, come back to the activity. Boom. You come back with a new level of sharpness, a new level of an edge. It's the value of getting wisdom. So we got to outwork, out learn, out strategize, retool our strategy, and then outlast. Just the fact you're not quitting. And then be like, listen, I don't know about everybody's, but Think Media's traffic during COVID doubled. The lockdown happened and we went from a baseline of 125,000 views a day to 250. I didn't do anything. That's like brain drugs that interpreted wrong puffs us up and like, oh, look at me. I'm a YouTube genius. I just went to no one had anything to do. But then everybody returned to work and their community again, so on and so forth. So the views drop. If I put too much effort, it wasn't that I was that smart, although I was pretty smart because I actually prepared for the pandemic, meaning I had a library of videos that people would find interesting. So all of a sudden my business doubled because I had already done the work getting ready for the next thing that'll happen in the future that none of us can predict. Anyways, we got to go on to Hector. But I really am glad this conversation came up, and there could be some truth to shorts, but I think it's an invitation to get back to the strategy board, get back to the learning board, get back to the hustle board, and outlast. Don't quit. You got a lot of good stuff going for you. And I think your future's bright. Hector, my man, how's it going?
I'm good. Thank you, Sean, for having me. This is the first time ever I'll be talking to you directly. So thank you so much for having me here from Arizona. To all my peers, hi.
Oh, man, it's so good to have you on. So tell me about your channel. What's your question today?
So my question was about the fact that I'm a struggling channel, basically. Okay. So definitely I'm not like Thomas. Not even like Jennifer. They're awesome. I was like, when I saw them, I saw their channel, was like, Jesus Christ, them and the oldest newbie here.
Yep.
So I've been doing this since the pandemic started. I remember the day after they pulled us out of the office to go home. to start working from home, I said, like, you know what, I have to do something separately because I need it. My family needs it, and I need it. And it was a life challenge for me. And to be honest, I've been dealing with trying to do things in the technical part. So you can see, I started with a different name, and then start shifting from English to Spanish. And actually, I actually follow your lead in regards to try to keep on one language rather than continue going back and forth. And I started doing it recently, and that's when I started to see more people engaging into my channel. And that's one thing, but still, I'm still struggling on the fact that it's still slow. People get more interested in what I say on the videos. As you can see, my English is not exactly very good looking. So, but at the same time, I try to shift from different things. You know, I do things like for the technical part, like, for example, talking about the recent news about Apple and other companies, like, for example, Samsung and others regarding their new products, but also at the same time, also talking about something that I like aside of technical, like, for example, the history of TV and movies recently from my island, Puerto Rico. I'm from Puerto Rico, by the way. And also from movies and things that actually touch me as a person when I started growing up. And that's what you can see in my channel too, most recently.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to go through some rapid fire tips. One, Hector, I'm super grateful for you. Thanks for jumping on. Two, you know, incredible. I love your hustle, putting in the work, getting started. I know for a lot of people, the pandemic was kind of the kick in the pants to get going on YouTube.
Indeed.
Three, I think that, you know, we always say you cannot steer a parked car. So the fact that you're posting 21 videos in a month and you did grow 19 subscribers and 653 views, our future is bright because now we can steer where this goes next. I think number one, you've already made the pivot, but a big mistake people make is trying to do more than one language on their channel. You got to pick one language because otherwise you'll confuse their algorithm. You'll confuse your subscribers. If somebody subscribes for a video in English and then the next one's in Spanish, then the problem is they can't watch that one. I think going all in on Spanish is the opportunity for you. That's the language you're speaking, yes?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. That's my first language. And the thing is, I wanted to get to more people, but then at the very end, I saw, and also not you directly, but people who are peers to me in the YouTube network. For example, I have to thank Papelones Boricuas and Who's Que Usted Latino USA. These are two of the best that I follow, that they are my friends right now. And they actually told me, hey, you have to chip and stay on your language.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me, like, you know, I needed that tough love. I needed that chancla, like we said. Thomas would know about it. I was saying in the private message, like, okay, I'm expecting a chancla from Sean. So
yeah,
I will say that.
that's what's coming next. So we made a couple things. So we got the work to do to say, okay, is it still going to be Mac Fan PR, or is it going to be something in Spanish that also, like, because I think, by the way, I think tapping into Apple and Macintosh it's a phenomenal niche. I think then tapping into that in a US Spanish speaking or just a global audience is also a phenomenal niche. If this is also already a passion, clearly it is, it's already something you're interested in, then I would just triple down on that. But we have a lot of work to clean up and to do. So it's like, we got to get your about page converted over to Spanish and articulated well, and the promise of the channel. Perhaps there's a channel name that needs to change. There's a lot of design work that needs to be done here. There's too much text. It's too, the avatar is kind of too busy. I'm not sure what's happening there with all the social media logos. That's distracting to me. And when I think about this, also one of the biggest hurdles you're going to have to overcome is a rapid increase of your design skills. You know, we were talking to Scuba Thomas, and he quoted Roberto Blake saying, you don't have to be overly obsessed on quality, but you have to have a level of quality expected for the subject matter that you're talking about. If I watch an iJustine video or a Marquez Brownlee video breaking down, you know, the latest Apple things, you know, whatever they are, you also think about a lot of what those videos are, or The Verge is the footage from Apple itself, which you can use via fair use. It cuts in with good music, a good microphone, a good voiceover, and it's a clips from Apple's keynote. You know, The Verge doesn't own Apple's keynote summary highlights. They don't own that content. Now, they might actually get proper license deals, but The Verge is doing Apple's keynote in 26 minutes. Notice that the Verge character is not even on screen. It is all clips and, you know, edited down. And if you were to summarize an Apple keynote and translate and talk through it and pull the full thing into your channel and then contextualize that in Spanish, you could be tapping into 647,000 views and insane RPMs too. Now, internationally, it's going to be a little bit different, but you know, all that to say, but then furthermore is back to design. I think the way the avatar is, the cover, but even if we cut over to the thumbnails, look at these thumbnails with just the goggles full screen, the text on there in 26 minutes. Tim Cook is on there. And so to me, compared to Apple and just for my own education,
yes,
if you were in Spanish to say Apple, you're still going to spell out Apple in English, right?
Yes, because Apple is a trademark. I cannot change it to Spanish because they know it's manzana in Spanish.
So yeah, totally understood. So you might say WWDC 2023, but you would say like EN in 26, like you put that in Spanish or whatever. So you know how to write, but like I think it's really dialing in your titles. You don't need to lead with your @MacFanPR. You want a very powerful title. That right there, if it's summary, and then you might put in parentheses Spanish, or you would just say this in Spanish. You obviously know how to do this, but just for my own Google Translate, like if all you did was like literally this video into Spanish and the title was, you know,
actually the last, just to let you know, the last script that I did, I used Google Translate, and it actually was better than before, because before it was a mess, but now it works better.
But all I'm saying is like no @MacPR, none of that. Like that title, Apple's keynote summarized with you translating for each person. You turn down their volume and then you talk over each part. Maybe then you commentate and you summarize it. Just as one example is the kind of tweaks we'd want to make. You're totally on the right track, but I think it's really leveling up your skills, branding, design, topics, and then the way that the content is again being put together. I think about some of these channels related to some of tech. A lot of them are, you know, they're pulling a lot of different news and data sources, and, you know, Tim Cook photos are animated. They're like mini video essays. And so that's also reverse engineering the nature of the content. I would also go into, you mentioned old tech or new tech, or you mentioned some like old TV, like some of this. I wouldn't mix that in. I think that if you are the Mac fan PR, you're already that. You've been that. It is just time, Hector, to really triple down and dial in your design, your branding, your titles, your thumbnails, your video. I mean, it's kind of all the things, but the good news is the momentum that you're building on, I think, has brought you to a place where you've already uploaded videos, uploaded thumbnails. And so back to our 4-part framework that I stole from Patrick Bet David, it is a matter of outworking, putting in the work, outlearning education, design, branding, Canva, or whatever you're going to use, you know, out strategize. Okay, I'm going to take over Spanish speaking. And I'm sure there probably already is that. Again, success leaves clues. I wonder if we go back to, where's my Google Translate? If we go back to Apple Keynote here, we're going to go back to Spanish.
Hey, Sean, that will be your next task, to learn Spanish.
That's right. So,
nah, just messing with you about that. That was a good thing. Is the things.
So is this? What does this say right here?
Huh? I'm sorry.
What does this say?
Oh,
this is only 47 seconds. It's one
so
reason why.
I'm turning 57, and this doesn't work for me. So
okay, no worries. So no, like here's perhaps, I know I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Somebody else could do the research if you speak Spanish. But I just typed in the Google Translate Apple Keynote in 26 minutes.
Yep.
And I put in the Spanish into the search bar. And I cannot find anything except for this video, but it's not even a video, meaning it's only 47 seconds. It's obviously not the keynote.
Yeah, that definitely not it. And the fact is, I was trying not to get, and that was what I was afraid of. I was afraid of the situation with copyright, because I've seen that. And even that was a question that I made in some of the videos that you have, or Nolan's or Omar that I followed through. Nolan, I guess it's my buddy from AC, I guess. I think he's from AC because he always had an AC cap. So, and one of the things that I've seen is about the copyright. And I've seen that, for example, I'm using right now CapCut, most than any other editor to edit my videos. My recent videos are all on CapCut. And guess what? I've been using some of the music from CapCut, and even though I don't get a strike, I was telling by YouTube, hey, this is a copyrighted thing. You don't have a strike, but this is and that. But thank God that I'm not right now into monetization yet, but still it cost me like I'm getting afraid of like moving forward. So what kind of music do I show in order to get a better video experience for the people out there? That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. And so we talked about this a little bit earlier. People can rewind if they're just jumping on to the fair use section where we kind of broke down fair use. Again, if you do a dub and edit it down, then I think you have the opportunity, because you're making in a new piece of content. You weave in a little bit of you, everything else. That's why we got to outlearn. We have to learn fair use, learn editing, learn putting it together, learn how to dispute some of those copyright claims or just content ID claims where they take monetization. But here's also what happens is after you win a couple of those disputes, this is what's happened with Nolan. He's had some content ID disputes on some of his content on his Faceless channel. He won a couple disputes. It's not that nothing will be content ID'd in the future, but what happens is your channel builds up authority. You're more prepared. YouTube starts seeing you're more legit, as opposed to your channel is just constantly copyright striked. And it's like, not crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Yeah. So all that to say, and I know as we land the plane, it's 2023. Disclaimer, I could be wrong, and check my work, friends, because maybe you could go to like the Spanish Angela's here. And I know YouTube has
Angela, saludos.
It has YouTube in different. There's a Spanish YouTube, right? What is it? YouTube.com. What is YouTube Mexico? Maybe I should say it'd be a country. Yeah, it's .com at Mexico. That's a channel. I
believe sometimes it says .mx when it's a
.mx. So YouTube.mx, and I don't know if it's going to let me go there. Oh, okay, it is. I got MX in the upper right hand corner, and I'm typing in the keynote. Here's what I'm doing. So I am trying to, and I know my Google Translate could be wrong. So I'm putting out 4,000.
It's good. It's good, actually. It says
so. That's what I was looking
at earlier.
Here's the point, friends. So if we have made it to this point, and all of my, I'm just hedging a lot, but like if this is all right, I'm about to make bold claims. It's 2023 and there are still blue oceans everywhere on YouTube. Read the book if you don't know what I'm talking about. There are still opportunities and gaps everywhere on YouTube if you just know where to look and if you're willing to put in the work. I'm not saying it's easy to watch all of Apple's keynote, to chop it down, to then voice over it, to polish a good video, to put that all together and to do it according to fair use. But what I am saying is that waiting for you on the other side of doing that, literally we only have English. So for you or somebody else with the wisdom of being here for Coffee with Cano at 1 hour, 59 minutes and 26 seconds into the stream that speaks Spanish and wants to put in the work, there's zero people doing it. What's wild about that is there's probably room for 5, 10, 15, 20 people to make a full-time living doing that and some significant money. Another 80 people to like get a little bit of arbitrage of, you know, seizing some of that market. So in summary, I just think, Hector, you are the Mac fan PR. It's about going all in on Spanish, upping your game in a lot of areas, but also just kind of in one way being the Spanish version. I forget her name, but I met basically this powerful woman. She came up to me at VidCon. She's like, I am the Think Media of Brazil. And she's like, I've basically stolen all of your content, remade it, I think in Portuguese, in Brazil. Thank you. And people are underestimating that international demand or the different language demand. So somebody doing a proper, again, Spanish version of this, not just stealing the Verge's video, but like, I mean, I don't know, just dubbing it. And I know that's a whole nother conversation, but you see what I'm saying, Hector?
And in fact, actually, I was following that thought. Actually, I made a short because shorts are making more. If you look at my shorts, I'm making more views than ever for the last maybe couple of weeks, maybe a month now. And there's one that I made with a video from Law of Mike. This is a Californian lawyer that is doing TikTok, and then now it's on shorts. It's awesome. The guy is awesome. And now he has a separate channel in Spanish whose translation is done in Argentina. I was like, it looks good, but Argentinians, they have kind of like an accent. It's not like Latino version. For example, you can say Latino Spanish or Spanish from Spain. These are very different, and they have their own regional accents, and it's more difficult to digest when you try to make it more universal, more open. And yes, and it helped me a lot, actually. That's one of the ones that start getting more views over and over. And the thing is, Fenamarro, saludos, bendiciones. Sorry. and the fact is, actually, it helped me a lot. Actually, I start doing some in English with pieces of, for example, Clint Eastwood movies, like Dirty Harry movies. Like, for example, I'm a Dirty Harry fan, so I don't know what. It's me. So you will see that, and you will see the shift that I made in the recent months, specifically for that, especially with the same situation that I have. For example, I heard Thomas earlier. Thomas says, you know, his full-time work sometimes prevent him to move forward in certain things. That happens to me, even worse, because you know, my family, I'm the brother in the house, so I have to do the whole thing. So it's kind of difficult for me. As you can see, most of my videos that you will see all this right now. It's kind of blurred, but it's basically the same thing. Sometimes it may shift to this, or maybe a little bit to the side. But other than that, that's my space, and this is my living room.
Yep.
So, but again, going back to the Spanish thing, I think that the fact is, actually, it helped me gather me more into what I want to show to the people as what I am. And I was thinking about changing the channel's name again. And actually, thank you for the chancla and the tough love. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Hector. Sending you massive love and gratitude, and thank you so much for jumping on Coffee with Cano.
And then, if we're talking about coffee, remember, get Yao Kono in grind. Believe me, you're gonna love it. If you like, you know, strong coffee,
I do.
You're gonna love it. There you go.
Let's rock. I appreciate you.
I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Dios me lo bendiga, channel. Sean Canal, perdóname. Eres una de las motivaciones para mi canal. You are one of the motivations for my channel, as well as the people from Puerto Rico. One of the motivations that I started watching, first of all, it was Luke Niani on tech. And then other people's in that area. But then I saw you one time, and that's what hooked me up to Think Media. I haven't been yet to VRA, or I either going to a full force into a challenge just because of my line of work. Actually, in like, how much? in 2 hours I have to go to work. So you can leave any.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate the kind words and the encouragement, and massive respect that you're putting in the work, that you're here. You got to go to work into 2 hours. Everyone, you know, a lot of people watching, they got their 9 to 5 kids, school, they're juggling it. You're doing you're putting in the work, Hector, and I appreciate you. And thanks again for being here.
Before I leave, I'm turning 57 on Saturday. I'm gonna throw my live stream on Saturday. So you want to see it? Go ahead.
Oh, all right. Congratulations. 57. Happy birthday. Early happy birthday. And thanks again, Hector.
Hey, to all of you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shannon, for having me.
Oh, sorry. Cut Hector off. Thank you, Hector. By the way, that's a good reminder. Speaking of birthdays, let me shout out my wife, Sonia Cannell's birthday is today. If you want to do me a favor, that would be meaningful to me. You could head over to my Instagram, Sean Cannell on Instagram, at Sean Cannell Rhymes with YouTube channel. Here's my beautiful wife, Sonia. We've been married 17 years. There's my 9-month-old. If you could drop some birthday love on this post. She turned 22 years old today. Just kidding. Not kidding. Happy 22nd birthday, babe. And she is amazing. So I did a happy birthday post here. If you want to drop a little comment, drop a little love. And she is amazing. There's a little bit of the Think Media team. We rallied in Vegas and went UTVing, all ATV, all-terrain vehicle, kind of like off-roading through the Red Rocks and stuff. A few of the Think Media team. And there's Sean Bradley and John Steven and Carol, a nanny that helps us, our friend Bree. Anyways, Sonia, happy birthday. I love you so much. Super grateful. She's hanging out with one of her girlfriends today while I am here with you on Coffee with Cannell. There's Ian, by the way, our all-time thumbnail designer. There's Kyle. He is the producer of the Think Media channel. And none of this would be possible without an all-time team. But happy birthday, Sonia. Hector, thanks for reminding me and bringing that up. We're going to bring Lucky on in just a second, and then we'll queue up Mark for the future. I'll probably miss my flight with doing Lucky. Like, I put that much pressure on him. I probably won't, but I do have to still pack, and I do have to fly out. I'm speaking to Vegas tomorrow at Forward Conference. I do want to acknowledge and make sure we hit some of these super chats. Sean, you're okay with everyone copying all your channel and re-uploading? To me, that's theft. To clarify, they didn't re-upload anything. What I mean is they just looked at like me teaching lighting, and they taught lighting in Portuguese. That's a good point. I'm not saying plagiarism, but I'm saying, like, when it comes to best practices of video, the misunderstood opportunity is actually, if you're non-English speaking, is to be the Think Media of Brazil, be the Apple tips, the Mac fan of speaking Spanish, to be a fitness channel in Japanese is what I'm saying. And good artists copy, but great artists steal. It doesn't mean plagiarize. It's not download my videos, dub them, and re-upload them. It just means, like, be inspired by them, remake them, your own face, your own content. That in and of itself takes a lot of work. And so I am quoting Pablo Picasso by saying good artists copy, great artists steal. And Steve Jobs quoted that as well. He said, we've never been bashful about taking great ideas from wherever they are and pulling it into our own products. You still have to create an original video. You still have to have your own vibe. You still have to create your own content, but ultimately you have the opportunity to be the quote unquote Think Media of Brazil, if that makes sense. White lion. I have a faceless channel, Lexi says, and my viewer retention keeps getting lower. What can I do to increase my CTR and my audience retention? I think it's about working on all the things, man, the script, the B-roll. If it feels like an average faceless channel, those are going to keep going down in value. The script quality, the storytelling, the raising the stakes, the, tying in storytelling that makes people want to watch until the end. Great thumbnail, great title, great promise, delivering on that promise, pacing, edits, transition, quality of B-roll, quality of the footage you're pulling out, quality of titles, captions, text, topics, how interested they are, finding blue oceans, finding white space. those would be the 36 distinctions I would think about that you could look at to improve some of that stuff. Our motorcycle channel Demons Row is asking, do you broaden up to get bigger or do you stay true all the way? It's up to you. At some level, if you want to go wider, you have to go broader. But what's your vision? Are you hitting your financial targets? Are you hitting your life satisfaction targets? Do you want to build a deeper dive community that's more focused, or do you want to go more mass appeal? These answers aren't even necessarily right or wrong, but it's a self-awareness question. Sometimes it could be a survival question. So there's the self-awareness lenses, there's the survival lenses. Is my niche getting kind of saturated? Do I need to broaden up? Do I need to pivot? Where do I need to go next? Make no mistake, this YouTube stuff is similar to musicians. It's similar to actors. Are you going to be a one-hit wonder, or are you going to reinvent yourself throughout the years and the decades of your career? Some artists can only do it, one time with one single or 2 albums. Some artists are still performing live like the Rolling Stones. Some artists have reinvented themselves multiple times like Madonna. Some artists like Macklemore, still independent, has dropped a couple niche albums, has gone big with The Heist, has not risen back to that, but is still crushing it with an incredible fan base and just continues on his grind, not just year over year, but decade after decade. So I think that if you may need to go broad for survival, you may need to go broad because of your desire. And it's a lot of self-awareness, and also then getting to know your community and what are they asking for? What are they after? And shout out to all the super chats for a lot of the love. I do store tours on my new YouTube channel. Stores will have copyrighted music in them. It is the best practice to re-record what I said in the store. I think what your opportunity here is, that probably will get flagged. It's frustrating, but it probably, if a song's playing in the background, then that artist will take all the monetization for the video. If not, they will take, the distribution, I should say. The distribution company will take it, or whoever the rights holders. Here's what you could do is voiceover. And that might be what you're saying, but I would voice over it. So you also could probably make that part a lot stronger. So you get to the store, you maybe write out a script, or you just voice over it in the timeline. Different editing software lets you do that. And you're like, all right. And you might even tell the viewer, you're like, hey, there was copyrighted music playing, so I'm just going to kind of narrate what I saw here, narrate whatever. But maybe you were kind of long-winded and your time in the store was 3 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 22 minutes. You sitting home with a mic like this, that's going to be better audio too. It's going to be more pleasant to the viewer. And you taking the 22 minutes of footage in the store and turning it into 7.5 minutes of like better told, more value, getting to the point quicker, could also improve the content. So the frustration of it being easier to just play it originally, you polishing it in post-production, what was a frustration could turn into an opportunity for making that video ultimately stronger. I have 2 really big videos. My latest has a 6 to average minute of retention in the ends, thanks to the end screens, but I can't get better than 2%. I don't get why the end screens would help the retention. And I want to thank you for the super chat, but I don't know that I have any advice here because of the nature of the information shared with me. There's so many variables. CTR is not that bad if you're getting millions of impressions. What happens is your video is shared wider, the CTR gets pushed down. But if it's continuing to grow and get views and get impressions, why are you mad? Why is it like a hill to die on? Like, I need a higher, would you rather have a 50% click-through rate and 1,000 views, or a 2% click-through rate and 1 million views? I would rather have the more views. So click-through rate is very important to study and analyze, but reach, impressions, impact, views, and ultimately watch time, minutes and hours matters a lot more. But unfortunately, I don't really have much info there. And White Lion, I'm going to change my name to Leon Blanco and become the Think Media Mexico. You heard it here. I don't know if you're joking, but I encourage it. It's a smart move. And I think there's a lot of international opportunities, as I mentioned, in different language opportunities. And I appreciate you, White Lion. Okay, we got Lucky coming up. Smash like, though, if you have been getting value today. We're only 2 hours and 14 minutes into this episode of Coffee with Cannell. It has been a minute since we've been doing this show. We're going to start doing this probably 2 times a month, and we'll get back to it. My dream is to get back to weekly. Probably won't always go 2 hours. And especially if I miss a couple flights, then all right, let's get to Lucky. But I want to thank you for being a part of the Coffee with Cannell show. If you're here live, drop what you're drinking in the live chat. I just finished up my black coffee, so now I'm sipping on some BCAAs and creatine and water mixed together in my shaker. And so we're going to land the plane with Lucky today. Lucky, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just grateful to be on this live stream. And once again, happy birthday to your wife.
Thank you. All right, tell me your question. What are we looking at? What are you up to on your channel, and what's your question today?
Okay, actually, my question is.
My friend,
I don't know if it's from myself in making video.
Yeah, our your internet, maybe your Wi-Fi, like the latency, we get a little bit of your words, but then it gets cut off, and so we're only getting bits and pieces. So you can maybe try one more time, or just hit me with the go ahead, try again.
Please, is it okay? Is it better now?
Yeah, it might be better. All right, what's the question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know what is the best way for me to get more people to, be engaged with my content. I don't know if it's from my thumbnail or.
All right, let's dive in. So what are some thoughts?
Yeah, I did leave, or edit my videos. I tried making.
Yeah, Lucky, what I'm going to do is, number one, I want to say thanks for being on here. I'm going to break down a few tips for your channel, but I'm going to, it is cutting in and out. So I'm going to have you just jump off, and, but I got a little bit of context and sending you massive love. So, ultimately, I want to talk about just some top level stuff. Think media rights would understand that, man, what's the big vision? I figure out pretty quick that you're a React channel, but I do want to encourage you, the please subscribe. We talk about this idea of selfish content versus service content. Now, I'm not saying that you're selfish, but it's like, what is in it for the viewer? What is the promise to the viewer? And if your cover is like, please subscribe, the moment I meet you, you're asking me for something. We need to flip that. The moment I meet you, you want to add value or potential value to the viewer. So one of the problems we have here is just like, please subscribe. It's like, well, for what? I've received nothing from you. I'm on the channel. I also think then your avatar, we have a lot of black space there. So just even that first impression, I get kind of the vibe. You're maybe sort of like, it's not about me or whatever. You're covering your face, but your face is also in the thumbnails. So we could improve the branding. And then it also says, please go subscribe, 3 exclamation points. But like, for what? Like, what do I get? Do I get entertainment? Do I get humor? What's the promise? What's the vision? And so congrats on 1.5 million views. And, you're doing great. 64 uploads and 500,000 views. So there's got some stuff working, but I think some of the opportunity moving into the future is like clarifying the mission, the vision, the promise. Who is this channel for? What am I going to get? My idea is that I can kind of discern that it's probably entertainment. It looks like we have some different type of kind of international movies Okay, we also have just reacting in general, maybe to some stuff that's happening in Africa, India, a train accident. So, but like you could maybe help me with, and I think this is a good reminder for all of us. It might be summer. I don't know where it is, where you're living right now, Think Media, but it's always a good time for spring cleaning. Not only do you need to clean your closet, not only do you need to clean your car. I know your car is so messy right now. I'm not talking to Lucky. I'm talking to you. You're watching this live stream or this replay. You know you need to clean your car. It's gross. But you also need to clean up your YouTube channel. And so like if we're cleaning up our YouTube channel, okay, cover, brandathon. Like what's okay, is the branding clear? Is the promise clear? Is the about page clear? Again, it's cool. It's your milestones. Like your audience is helping you do that. But I don't even know. Again, it's just like your milestones. Please go subscribe to what? Okay. With that, I think success leaves clues. So make part twos. India versus Africa. This is interesting. Looks like you collabed with somebody here. It was a year old. It still gets 35 views an hour. Could you remake that video or do an update? Could you collab with that person again? It definitely would be an indication of, could you collab with somebody else? You don't have to be sitting next to each other. You and I, if we could get a hard line or a better internet connection, I'm collabing people with Coffee with Cannell and we're from all different places. So you could potentially use something like StreamYard, not trying to just plug our sponsor, but StreamYard is what I'm using here. You can bring people on. You can use what's called perfect record each angle, and then edit together a video. You could react to stuff together using, you don't have to be in the same place. You don't have to feel limited about using your content. I mean, you don't have to feel limited like, oh, I live in a small town. I can't collab with anybody. I can't. No, sure you can. And if you have a bad internet connection, the cool thing about StreamYard Perfect Record is it uploads in the background. So even after you're done shooting for 30 minutes with somebody, both files upload to the cloud. You could then download those. And so you could start interviewing or collabing with or reacting to content. I'm not just talking to Lucky, but just anybody around the world. And so I'm going to take a sip of my BCAs, give another shout out here to our sponsor of Coffee with Cannell, StreamYard, and we'll be back to land the plane with a few more tips for all of us, including Lucky.
This video is sponsored by StreamYard. This is our go-to platform for live streaming to YouTube and Facebook, especially when we have multiple people joining us on a stream. With an incredibly easy to use interface for doing cool transitions, bringing in text on the screen, and seamlessly bringing on guests. This is the perfect platform for the new and experienced creators alike.
If you want to check out StreamYard, go to streamwiththink.com. Victoria will throw that up on the screen. I'm not sure where our banner is for that, but we will throw that up on the screen so you can also see that URL, but it's streamwiththink.com. No credit card required. You can try it out for 14 days, shoot 4 videos, cancel if you want, but no strings attached. You can check out to see if it's a tool that would be useful for you. Thanks, Victoria. We can pull that down. So I think that success leaves clues, make part twos in terms of what are these top 10 topics that you could maybe hit again. You're clearly pulling a lot of views. So part of it is going to be how interested are people in this movie? Like, so there could be your reaction to it, but do people care as much about that? If we go through some of your videos, they clearly cared more about the Nah Ready song probably than, this sports moment. So part of that is you just continuing to identify the best topics. Yes, title, yes, thumbnail, but topic is superior to both, because even if you had a better title and thumbnail, certain topics like you reacting to this army clip here that got 2,000 views, the topics that are resonating the most is probably where your future growth is going to be. And then as we land the plane, I do think that your thumbnails are pretty great. I do think we could increase the crispiness level. That's obviously a limitation to your gear, but I do wonder. So, okay, we're at a 720p. So I know you're probably trying to, up your funds and think about investing. But if we could get to 1080p, and I would guess that if you have a decently new phone or something, it's just going to take the time to go proper camera, put it up in your place there, hit cinematic mode or whatever that mode is on Android or Samsung, or just go a crispy, like your phone's probably going to be pulling 2000 by 4000 pixel photos, even if it's 5 years old. Deal with the lighting a little bit and get a little crispier, because I think you're just grabbing a thumbnail from your footage in 720p or whatever your camera or webcam's capturing it. And I would imagine, you know, the limitation of gear depending on where you're located. But these days, 4K webcams and some different, like, I know there's editing speed, but all I'm suggesting is your improvement of what is the quality standard for this kind of content? How good does it sound? How well is it edited? How crispy is it? How crispy is the footage you're reacting to? And that would, you know, your evolution of your background. Your background's not going to like change the success of your YouTube channel, but the improvement, it's kind of a mentality too. It's the 1% better improvement. Editing, crispiness of camera, crispiness of audio, branding, the look to it, the branding of the channel. But back to the idea of just even upping, because this OPC, other people's content, you're able to pull that from them, so you get whatever highest resolution photo. But I'm saying for you, with the tools you already have, my guess, and I was actually just coaching somebody else yesterday on the Think Media team about this. I'm like, your thumbnail crispiness, they're like, I just get a screenshot off my webcam. I'm like, dude, you have an iPhone, you know, you've got a Samsung. Like you could just take some time to put it up, shoot it, and then you could pull it into Canva or something, boost the contrast. And it's just a little thing. Again, lastly, congrats on the success. Because I think on the other side of just 1% better is 1 million views a month, 2 million views a month, 3 million views a month, and brandathon across your channel here for sure. It looks like you haven't done these in a while, right? Oh no, you've been doing these. I do wonder. These don't seem to be working, but I think you also could rework your shorts game a little bit, because due to the nature at times, like here, clearly, success leaves clues. So I think like that would be maybe the topic, the nature of your reaction. My thought is probably that song, key. That song was so trending. That song was so hot. Your reaction, or you dancing along, was so funny. And thus, compared to maybe these latest ones, and in the nature of what it is, you getting into the psychology of the people watching this and what do they want to see, what are they into, what do they want to share. I think that's going to be a big one. Friends, this is Coffee with Cannell. If you had fun today in the last 2 hours and 27 minutes, smash like. If you learned something today, drop your aha moment in the live chat if you're still here. If you gave a super chat, I think I got to them all, but I want to say thank you for the support of the channel. If you have not registered for the Tube 1K challenge, that's definitely the next move. We are doing a free 5-day challenge. If you're ready to start or grow your YouTube channel, if you feel stuck or plateaued on YouTube, go to tube1kchallenge.com or click the link in the YouTube description. I'm going to be live for 5 days. We have some special guests, 4 different guests joining us. I've got some deep dive sessions where you'll be seeing, I've got whole presentations, tactically really breaking down how to grow to your first 1,000 subscribers or grow to your next 1,000 subscribers. If that sounds interesting to you, if you're ready to stop dabbling and to start dominating on YouTube, tube1kchallenge.com. It's happening in a couple weeks. It gives you some time to get your journal right, to get your pencil pouch, to get your highlighters, to get your rulers so you can keep your notes organized, to get your, this, I recommend this ruler kit. You get 3 of them. It's on Amazon, $3, pink, green, blue. Get your pencil pouch, get your rulers, get your pens, get your journal. Sean, I have an iPad and I use Evernote. Okay, well, great. I'm glad you use Notion. That's amazing. But I use the journal. Okay. So relax. 2.1K challenge is coming up, and getting to 100 was hard. Can't wait to get to 100,000. Let's go, Bella. Appreciate you, and pumped to hang out. The Try Something New shows in the house. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you're doing well. I think we're hanging out next week in Ojai, California. Yeah. With the whole Wellspring crew. Great to see you here. Okay. Bella signed up for the 1K challenge. I think that is a good move to go sign up for the tube1kchallenge.com. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. This has been the Coffee with Cannell show. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. This channel is called Think Media. We're here to help you grow your influence on YouTube and find the coolest cameras, lighting, gear, and setup and all of that kind of stuff as well. All right, I can't talk anymore, but I appreciate you. I will see you on the next Coffee with Cannell. Peace.